Hello and welcome back to another Nerf Blaster review video for the channel. My name is Luke Triton and today we are covering the all-new Elite 2.0 MotoBlitz. This is the latest blaster in the Elite 2.0 line. It is magazine-fed, semi-automatic with flywheel cages, and it is a bullpup blaster. The magazine is inserted behind the trigger. We haven't seen this in 10 years since the original N-Strike's Raven. Yeah, it's quite amazing to see this again. Another major feature for this blaster is the massive air tank shotgun at the front. There is so much to talk about when it comes to this blaster, but before we go into the blaster itself, there is something I want to address. So this was leaked for the first time in late February earlier this year, and straight away when people saw the picture, it was one of those sort of stock pictures you see on website listings of just one of the kids holding it looking like this, and we saw this blaster and we thought, oh my god, it looks amazing. Again, it's bullpup, semi-automatic, big shotgun, lovely stuff, but it's Elite 2.0. Ever since that first wave of Elite 2.0 blasters up until recently, all the original blasters, they were clipped together. You couldn't take them apart to fix them if any of them broke. Something Warden, you know, do your research if you don't know that already. It was a real shambles. It was just so embarrassing to see what those blasters were like. Even when it came to being able to finally open up those blasters, there were lots of plastic parts in place of where metal parts should be, springs being the most notable thing. However, I have seen other reviews for this blaster on YouTube, and they have done the research for me. Look at all the screw ports on this side of the blaster. You can actually open this up. It's amazing, and other people have done investigations. There are proper metal springs, and it's what Elite 2.0 should have been in the beginning. This internally is a very functional, excellent blaster. So, how does the rest of it function? Let's get into that now. So, once again, this is a semi-automatic blaster which has a flywheel cage somewhere around here. It is a bullpup blaster with the magazine being inserted right at the back. I mean, that is insane. I don't know how far away, well, if I re-hold it here, that little gap there, is that further away or closer to my shoulder than the Raven? It's remarkably close, and even then with where the magazine is positioned next to the grip, I'm not exactly someone who enjoys this sort of position, but given the size of the blaster, I can't really complain about this. Me personally, I would prefer it if it was out just a little bit more, but even this is very comfortable. And given this is a bullpup blaster, again, you kind of have to accept that sort of thing. Inserting the magazine is excellent, and taking it out is even more excellent. See this switch here? That is the magazine release. That is a full-on switch. Not a button this time, it's a lever, and it's excellent. So again, sliding the magazine in, taking it out. Ooh, one of the darts just popped out of the magazine there. Even then, it is phenomenal, and I love it so much. Above that is the access door, which is a bit finicky to open, as you just saw there, but it's even more difficult to close. So in order for me to close it, I have to take the magazine out, just to show this again, because it's so cool. I love that so much. There's now a bit of springiness, or at least there should be, last time I accessed this. There we go. To be able to close that up. It's a very interesting access door. It's not the best thing to get your fingers into. Luckily, I did not experience any jams or malfunctions when it came to firing this blaster. And the even more interesting thing is, the whole point of a jam door is to shut down the firing system. But you could still fire the blaster with the jam door open. So this is now probably going to be a new design going forward, where Nerf blasters can still operate no matter what the state of it is, and the whole jam door situation where previously it would shut off any firing capabilities, that's not a thing anymore. It's just a door to be able to get your fingers in there, clear the jam, and just go from there. But again, the problem is, as you can see if I bring the blaster close up now, it's not the easiest thing to get my fingers into. I can get to the top of the magazine, sure, but that's it. I can't get to the darts itself. So if for any reason I can't take the magazine out, if it gets stuck like that, that might be something, but even then it's just too small. There needs to be more space at the front to be able to actually get my fingers in there to amend whatever's going on. But all the same, I've not had to use it properly like that, so I suppose I'm just lucky at that point. So yeah, that is excellent. And the magazine itself, having seen that, this is a standard 10 duct curved magazine, and we only get one of these with this blaster. But there's this new Nerf printing, for lack of a better word. It's still molded as part of the magazine, but it's it looks quite nice, to be honest. It's a very corporate logo thing, but at the same time, I actually quite dig that. It looks very up to date, I would say. Now, normally with these magazines, you would see a number on the side that says how many darts the magazine can hold. So this, of course, would say 10. But this time, we don't have that. But that's okay. It's the fact that it's 3D. It's not flat. It's actually kind of sticking out a bit. I think that is really cool. Genuinely, that's awesome. So next, what about the tactical potential for this blaster? There are 3 tactical rails on this blaster. 1 on the top and 1 on each side. And that is it. Obviously, this is a bullpup blaster, so there's nothing you could do with the stock. And because of how long this barrel is, there isn't anything going on at the front. No barrel attachment points. But at the same time, given how close the muzzle is to the air tank shotgun, any kind of barrel there is only going to interfere and get in the way. So again, that makes sense, but you know, for me, 3 rails, that's not exactly enough to do combos with. So that's a bit of a shame. But at the same time, I think that's all right. You could definitely put, I don't know, like a torch on that side, the magazine holder on this side, and thank goodness they put a rail on the top. I think this is something they discovered and decided to do afterwards, because there's no way this was on purpose. Now, I know Nerf blasters are supposed to be a toy and they're for kids as well, but if I look down sights now, I'm looking down that top rail. I'm not looking down the actual sight. So the sight itself doesn't look too bad. You know, it's not going to help you anyways, but that's not, you know, that's a nice looking sight, I suppose. But if I'm going to look down that, I have to position the blaster like this. Yes, I am serious. There and only there am I able to look down the sights. If I put it in my shoulder and look down sights this way, I'm never going to see down this thing. So I reckon this wasn't on purpose. It was kind of, oh great, but you've already made the mold, so let's quickly go back and amend it so you can put your own scope on top to make sure other people like myself, older people who enjoy this product, can actually look down the sights and use it a bit more functionally. So bit of a shame there, to be honest, but at the same time, you know, at least there's a rail there. That's definitely a good thing. I could definitely see myself running this blaster as is, without attachments, you know, just stock and just carry on, which is a very weird thing for me to say because I love my attachments, but even then, you could definitely run this as is, and it would be so much fun. And now we get to talk about the most exciting part of this blaster, the big air tank shotgun. So this blaster is sold with 1 magazine and 22 darts, which is an interesting thing to come with because it's enough to fill the magazine once and to refill the shotgun twice. And I suppose that makes sense, but it's still kind of bugging me. You know, this isn't something that ever bugged me before, but a magazine blaster should come with at least 2 magazines at this point. So, Wacom's point is starting to become more and more true with me. So, the shotgun itself. How does this work? It is rather amazing, and I'm so glad it works in this way. The instructions say to pump it 8 times, so I'm going to do that now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, I just heard a very mild hissing sound, so any extra pumping that is done is released, so this is as full as you can basically make it get. If you try to pump it another 20 times, you're not going to add any more power than you did to pumping it 8 times. So these big red circles are the triggers. You can squeeze one or you can squeeze both, and it fires all 6 darts at the same time. I need to make sure I don't hit anything on my shelves, so let's aim it around here. Again, I'm holding it a bit weird, but again, this is to make sure I don't bump into anything on that side. So pressing the button, are you ready? 3, 2, 1. That is awesome, and it's one of the coolest things I've ever seen on a Nerf blaster. So this is, again, something we haven't really seen since the Demolisher. The Demolisher was a blaster that is actually quite similar to this. It was semi-automatic, flywheel, and magazine fed, and it had an integrated missile launcher. But this is a shotgun, and this serves its own purpose because that's 6 darts, again, being fired at once. The only other thing that has a kind of similarity to this was the mediator barrel attachment. It was a barrel that looked, well, kind of sleek. It had a pump action, it was an air tank, had a button to act as the trigger, and it fired 3 darts. This is built into your blaster, so you're a bit more forgiving with how aggressive you pump it. But it fires 6 darts. If you miss with this thing, why are you playing Nerf? Oh man, but again, this is incredibly fun, and I love it so much. So now we are at the end of the video, and this is where I talk about my buy recommendation. So first of all, the main thing to remember is that you have your own freedom to spend your own money as however you wish. This is only a recommendation, but I for one would say it's definitely worth picking up this blaster. It's very weird still because, you know, the whole exchange rate thing I mentioned at the beginning, $42 does not translate to £50 sterling. At the same time, here in the UK at least, if you see one of these on shelves and you are a fan of Nerf, this is absolutely a blaster worth buying. Elite 2.0 is going in the right direction. If they continue to make blasters, not so much like this, because obviously this package is very cool, but it's more so stepping away from having the blasters clipped shut and using metal springs instead of, you know, all those plastic rubbish things that we had in the original wave. If they continue to do that, then Elite 2.0 will finally be able to live up to that Elite side of the Elite 2.0 name. How many good blasters are there in the Elite 2.0 line? Not many, and you could probably count them on your hand. You might have some favorites, sure, but at the same time, there's not a lot. This, however, is definitely one of them. It's so cool to see a blaster like this again. It's cool to have something that's bullpup. This massive shotgun at the front is just amazingly fun. I'm going to have some more fun with this blaster once I finish recording, because of course I am. I love this thing so much. And yeah, it's really good. It's just simply a really fun blaster, and I love it. So that is the end of my review for this blaster. Thank you all ever so much for watching. Be sure to keep an eye on the community tab for polls and updates. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and Flickr for more behind the scenes details for what I do. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you all in the next episode. Bye bye.